What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 61 of the Parents of Professors podcast. This is our first episode of 2026, and so we wanted to do a little looking back in order to look forward.
And you forgot the most important part.
What is the most important part?
It's our 5-year podiversary.
Oh, yeah. We've been doing this for 5 years, which is bananas.
So crazy.
I think a lot of progress has been made in the recent time in terms of professionalizing it a little bit. But this is an opportunity for us to look back over what are the most popular episodes and what's still contemporarily relevant, given where we are as a nation of parents, professors, and people.
So, as always, we are excited to share and I think reflect on our perspectives. We are also, I think, really excited about seeing, at least I'll say, I'm excited about seeing how right I was.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go. So, as always, the content shared in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are our own, and our discussions are based on personal experiences, publicly available information, and general industry knowledge. We're sharing our perspectives as parents, professors, and people navigating this world, not providing professional advice. We are not your mama
Or your lawyers.
or your daddy or your lawyer. So engage. And with that, let's get it started. So we looked at downloads, listener engagement, episodes that sparked the most conversations in our DMs and comments. And these episodes represent different facets of who we are and how we show up, like some of the things we're thinking about. It's actually interesting to go back and listen to how much we were making an effort to teach through the podcast. I think we got to bring some stuff back. We got to figure out some ways that we've evolved. So choosing only 5 of the over 60 conversations that we had was difficult to a certain extent because some of the stuff that I think is fire and I think is funny, like you're not interested, and vice versa. But we were able to kind of narrow it down to 5 episodes that really stood out. And so we're going to count them down from 5 to 1. And the first one that we're talking about is episode number 9, which we titled "She's Tucker Carlson in an Edgar Suit: Educational Institutions as Playthings for Politicians." And we put this episode out September 1st, 2021.
Oh, that was really a lifetime ago. So
yeah, it feels like it.
For reference or context, the she in this episode was Candace Owens, who had been saying, Candace Owens things about
It remains ridiculous.
education. And in fact, it's interesting to look at where we were then. And part of that conversation was about the fact that so many people, influencers and people who have microphones and an audience and a platform are using their powers for what I would describe as
evil.
I was going to say not good.
Well, I think so it's interesting because I think there's a direct tie into what's going on today. And I think Nicki Minaj is basically like a new version of Candace Owens.
Nicki Minaj is our new Edgar?
She's running around saying ridiculous, politically inflammatory stuff. She's being anti-GLBTQ IA plus when her fan base, like that's actually her fan base.
People who buy your ticket, shorty. Like,
yeah, she's on the turning point, just hitting all the racist, sexist, like discriminatory, bigot talking points. And it was a masterclass in how to have people be like, yeah, I'm good on you.
So I also think it's interesting because with Candace Owens at the time, she's a good spokesperson because she fits this like respectability mold, right? She presents herself a certain way. She speaks a certain way. She strives to set herself up as someone who is, proper and I'm appropriate in all these ways and how I interact and who I am as a person and how I show up, not like these ghetto Black people. And Candace Owens would never mix with someone like Nicki. And in fact, in real life, none of these people would. Like, they're not.
I mean, but that's why it's so much more nuts that Nicki's on turning point.
Does she think that is the check that good? Well, is it the check?
Okay, so I thought a couple of different things, and it's funny. So first scholar shout out of the new year. I have to give a direct shout out to the newly minted Dr. Jakur Lockhart.
Yay! Oh, can we?
So I went, hit him with that, hit him with the applause. Yeah. So, oh no, yeah, keep it going, keep going, keep. Actually, hit it again for my man. Yeah, because Jay worked very hard. He's been a great citizen of the research team. I'm extremely proud of him. Hitting him was one of my highlights of 2026. But Jay is an undeniably huge Nicki Minaj fan.
Yes.
And if you follow his social media, you can see him spitting Nicki bars at any point. And so he's one of the first people that I asked. I was like, I'm
Oh,
reaching out to you not as the defender because I don't like different forms of whataboutism that people engage in naturally. So like the first thing that a lot of people were doing that I saw like in my timeline and in my spaces were, oh, you guys still listen to R. Kelly and you still listen to Lil Boosie and you still listen to, insert other artists who has problematic views or does crazy
crazy
things.
things, yeah.
But now you want to come for Nicki. And I was like, I'm
But we
not.
care for all of those people.
We did, but I'm not. I don't want to engage on that level. I really want to understand. Hey, given your combination of identities and your proximity to this topically,
Hmm.
like, what did you think? And I feel like his response was probably was like, man, like I'm just hurt. Like I'm hurt that this person who I revere and look up to would be caught lacking like this.
Yeah.
Is essentially, and that's a vast oversimplification because the text chain is significantly longer
Right.
than that.
Right.
Um, but I was like, yeah, I don't really know what to think because I would never either include or disclude Nicki Minaj from anything because of her political views. I could care less what she thinks about
Right.
politics.
I'm not. I
Yeah.
don't care anyway. So like,
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I don't see her stances as like intentionally and powerfully harmful and things that can be weaponized by people who don't have the best interests of black people, gay people, or any
of those groups,
in heart or in mind.
immigrants. Sure, you don't even go here. Like,
But it's jumping out. So it's interesting to me. So like reflecting on the Candace Owens episode,
yes,
it's interesting to me that like, oh wow, like there's an immediate obvious parallel to
what we're
yeah,
experiencing right now.
dealing with today. So was there anything else from that episode that you feel like
I mean, I think the other thing that's still a question, and what we talked about then was, you know, how much do you engage with the things being said or what's going on, particularly when they are easily proven to be false, right? These are lies, not all of the cute cuddly names we have for misinformation and no, it's lying. Like, you know this to not be true.
well, I mean, I think that that's one of the really important things to pay attention to because we're still very much in a post-truth era. It doesn't matter that you're lying. And in fact, the nature of propaganda is that like we lie and we try to make lies seem like the truth.
Right. I mean, it's very 1984, but I think that
So like think about Trump's rise as a political
right,
person.
Obama's a
Yeah.
Muslim who wasn't born in
He's
America.
it's like he's a Muslim. He was born in Kenya. Like he's a birther. None of that
He,
is true.
he was like one of the main champions behind
Yeah,
it.
but none of that is true. But
People still believe it.
he fought on that lie and ascended to the most powerful position in the globe based on that lie. And so I think we do I think we do need to still spend some time thinking about like when is it appropriate to correct the record and like what are the mechanisms that we could do that. So, something disturbing when we were doing preparation for the show, Marjorie was looking for this talk by Jeffrey Robinson that
Oh,
was funded by the ACLU.
yes. It was called When Heritage Equals Hate. And he talks about the transition of white supremacy and white power in the South and the Confederacy and what it stood for, in addition to, I think, what people now who don't know the history might claim. Really well done. It's about like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hour long uh, talk that he gave.
And the thing that's disturbing, probably more than anything else, because part of what he did in the talk and making his points that was really valuable and powerful was he actually used tweets from Donald Trump to talk about how dangerous some of the ideas he was propagating were and just how flatly false some of the premises were.
But also how so much of his rhetoric was rooted in this very racist, very historically grounded idea of white supremacy. And not just white supremacy, but white supremacy that depended on the subjugation of someone. And in America, that was Black people.
And this is something that's been coming up in kind of conversations for me. I am astounded at people who don't recognize that history might not necessarily be repeating itself, but it rhymes. And if you think about the American South and the American South actually being the inspiration for Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look how crazy they're able to treat those Negroes within the framework of their legal system.
And everyone lets them get away with it.
So we should do that to the Jews. And
Yeah.
people don't recognize that that's like a real that's not somebody making up some liberal talking points. Like this is
No.
actual real connected.
Like they said, copy, paste.
Yeah. And so when people raise fears of fascism and like the return of some of the craziness, it's because you're actually operating from the same playbook in public, from the media propaganda to the creation of essentially like ICE operates like the secret police.
Yes. You
You
don't have to
have-
identify yourselves. You wear masks to cover your faces. You operate not technically outside of the law, but enough in the gray.
I mean, you're outside of the law. If
No,
you can,
well,
if you
that's
can disappear somebody and we don't know, no family has any contact with you. We don't know where you are. You have hidden detention
well,
centers.
the problem is given the cherry picking of how they have approached the case that they're making for what they're doing. Some could argue they're not operating outside the law, right? There are all of these things that say, the executive branch has the power.
You're saying that based on the fact that they've taken over the Supreme Court as well.
Right.
There's no
And
resistance.
so, like, they can make the case, and it's still being heard. It's actively being heard, but like, it's hard to say outside the law when the law is interpreted in a way that gives
outside the law when they're actively rewriting the laws.
right. Yeah.
as they go along.
So I think
like
it's
my
important
man
for people to know the difference.
Yeah, it's like Trump just rolled up on my man in Venezuela. Like who by the way was wearing the flyest Nike Tech. Let me say I have my eyes on that gray Nike Tech.
Yeah.
My wife has a problem with me wearing gray sweatpants all the time. So be it. I may or may not be wearing some right now.
Just
but
the Venezuelan Nike Tech.
yeah. I was like, this nigga got caught in Nike Tech in a sleep mask. Like
it's so very, I don't even know if surreal is the right word, but I think the timing is interesting because, this time 5 years ago,
it was attack on the Capitol.
we were ramping up for our first episode, but also, yes, right? January 6th was a real thing. And when you talk about disappearing information.
Yeah, they're trying to make it seem like January 6th never happened.
And the current administration essentially is just deleting records, information, documents, reports, all of it is being erased. So they can make the case that, no, we don't know what you're talking about. This never happened. So shout out to NPR. If you haven't made a donation, we'll put a link in the show notes, but they have created a public archive for documenting the events of January 6th. And they're like, no, all of that theft and weed smoking and property damage and the loss of life, that's an insurrection. But you want to make claims about what's going on in Chicago or LA.
You want to use the National Guard in United States cities when the National Guard was not deployed for the January 6th insurrection and attack on our literally a physical attack on our democratic institutions.
They trashed the building.
Smoking weed, putting their feet on desks,
broken windows, death to the media. I mean, like.
But again, like this is where the historical perspective is really important, because if you look at Hungary, if you look at Myanmar, if you look at Nazi Germany is the one that raises people's hackles because they don't like that comparison is available. But hey, let's rewrite history and let's create an imagined, mythical, amazing past that we should all be striving to return to. Sounds a lot like Make America Great Again, right? And it's like, when was America great? When black people couldn't do anything. But
when you had to be a white land-owning man to vote and women knew their places. Like, it's so.
I mean, even that, the attack on feminism, like attack
all
on
of it,
sexuality, those are things that are consistent across fascist regimes throughout history. And we're watching it happen.
As our number 4 and our very first episode, I think to me
Attack on the Capitol was episode number 1.
Yes, that was episode number 1. I think to me, I look at it as like, I mean, really, this marks the beginning of the attack on America, on Americans specifically, right? We have seen the very rapid, very efficient decimation of our social safety nets. We have seen the destruction of our educational systems. And also, by the way, can I just say to all the parents or aunties and in fact, you don't even have to be a parent. If you're someone who like cares even an iota about our kids, like this is a problem. And the fact that the tech bros are now hand in hand with the politicians and have been given a fucking, key to the city to do whatever they want. Like it's all, I feel like it's all connected. Like it has just been an endless series of.
What's the most concerning connection for you?
Oh, Jesus. Most concerning connection.
Yeah, so like when you say it's all connected, right? Like, so for me, the thing that's probably most concerning is the historical precedent, and that everybody, so many people in spheres, even people whose like intellect I respect and who like generally will engage like reading and books and facts and let that inform the formation of their opinions. There's almost a like, but I couldn't believe that it would get this reckless. Or I couldn't believe that Trump would go this far.
I don't know why people thought that.
But it's in Project 2025.
Just very explicitly.
And so he lied and was like, I have nothing to do with that. And then got into office and immediately was like,
all those people who wrote it, come work for me. Because they wrote it as the plan for the Republican Party.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of I told you so-ness for anybody who like read Project 2025 but there's also the other side where it's like, hey, Kamala didn't have a plan. Of course she didn't have a plan.
No, it was all written. There were actual fucking things in there that were like, here's what the government's gonna do, and here's the potential impact. And they were like economic analysis. Like it was a real fucking plan.
Oh, so I found the button.
Just.
So what of the Kamala plan do you think should have convinced voters that they should not go with the cult of personality that was Donald Trump and that they should have gone with Kamala, even though Kamala only had 107 days? Isn't that the name of her book?
I mean, yes, that was. Days.
I mean,
I feel like that's a whole other.
We lay that at the feet of Biden.
I think to me the issue is less about the plan and more about the fact that, and we've talked about this in many of our episodes, like the Democratic Party just has not kept up. Like they are not in the world of social media and Twitter and the fact that people don't watch fucking CNN for their news. Like most people get their news from social media. Most people don't care about facts. Most people care about how you make them feel. Most people just want to hear what sounds good, and then you could do whatever you want. I mean, think about where we are right now. This man ran on affordability, and then 2 weeks ago was like, it's a Democratic hoax. What the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Anyway.
I mean, corruption aside, lock her up.
Emails. These people had a whole Signal chat where they invited a reporter on their war plans. Like, where were all the lockup people then?
It doesn't matter what we do. It matters what we say and how we make you feel. I think you touched on something really important, which is the political ruling through emotional reactions.
Yes. There was an interview. I've been listening to a lot of NPR. So there was another interview on NPR.
NPR is one of the few trustworthy news sources that remains.
Yes. And I'll have to go back and find the show and the guest. But one of the things that they had talked about, and that line stuck with me, is that what this current iteration of conservative, whatever it is, has done well is get people to connect their identity with their politics, with culture and how they feel. And if you question or attack any one of those things, people can't separate them. So much of this, you're oppressed because you're not a person of color and the immigrants are taking your job and the gays are after your kids and join our side. And so because you're tying into this identity thing, you're not paying attention to the fact that the politics that are being offered on this side have nothing to do with.
Is there a way to
making your life better?
So if we're trying to be solutions oriented, how do we approach that? right? So I know that my default is just not true because I feel like I want to be able to educate people out of it.
What
Like,
do you mean?
hey, if we teach
Oh,
people what's going on, or if we teach them the history, or if we show them the ways that these frameworks and these ideas are being weaponized against you, right? Here's a political frame that's being used. Here's the way that the hypocrisy is rampant in the Trump administration and in so many places where here's what we told you we were going to do. Here's what we said was important to us. But as soon as we got into power, we ignored all that we didn't. I mean,
the opposite.
the Epstein files are an example of it. Think of the huge groundswell of support because Trump was like, yo,
We're gonna release the files.
yeah, when I get in office, we're going to release the files.
And he's like,
And then he
what files?
he had somebody take a peek at them files. And he was like, I am mentioned a little too prominently in these. And so I'm going to need you to fall back. Hey, Pam, I know you said they were on your desk.
Can we just
Can you
ixnay
ixnay on the Ausfay asexually?
I mean, and the thing is, we're watching it all in real time.
Because I want to add though, right?
Yes.
I think the emotional reaction and the intertwining of identity and personality is not just something that is being done on the right. And in fact,
no.
If I think about like your just reaction right here, your very Haitian little reaction, right? Think of how gassed up and hype you just got right now. Because part of, and I recognize it too, as like part of my identity is like, how did you dumb motherfuckers fall for this? And I know that that's not a way to change minds.
That's right. No one's listening to that.
Nobody's listening.
No one's listening to that.
All they're gonna do is get offended, and they're gonna get more deeply entrenched in whatever it is that they believed in advance. So, like, what are the ways to position the argument, or what are the ways to offer space for people to actually change their mind? And without saying Zoran Mandani, because he can't be president. He actually wasn't born here. He can be the mayor of New York. He can't be the president.
Damn. So I think it's really hard because so one of the challenges is that anytime you're addressing a conversation or a topic where someone has strongly held beliefs, they immediately are on the defensive. So I honestly think that it's question asking as opposed to telling.
Curiosity.
Yes. Like, help me understand, and like, oh, can you explain? So I've mentioned before, I have a neighbor. It's very nice. And she is a Trump supporter and, thinks that they're litter boxes in classrooms.
Oh. They're eating the cats.
They're eating the cats.
They're eating the cats and dogs.
And so I was like, in my brain, bitch, there are no litter boxes in the classroom. That's ridiculous. Like, and she works in a school.
No.
So this is a great time to have a conversation and let me ask questions and approach this with curiosity, because I couldn't understand how someone who actually has access to a school building where you claim there are litter boxes has not actually seen the litter boxes, but believes in them fervently.
Suspend disbelief.
Fervently. And so I was like, oh, so you've seen these litter boxes? Well, no. Oh, well, then I'm sure a janitor must have mentioned it, because if they had to, clean up litter boxes,
they would be upset about that.
They'd be upset.
That seems like an expansion of my duties. This is not other duties as assigned.
My contract doesn't cover this.
Yeah.
Right? No, not from them. Oh, well, teachers. Clearly then the teachers, because I'm sure there are teachers who wouldn't want to have litter boxes in the bathroom. It's the teachers, right? Well, no one in the building that you work in. Well, I don't ever see the kids' bathrooms. But if I heard, there are litter boxes in the bathroom, I'd be like, word, let me just.
You would want to
box in the bathroom.
You would want to go confirm.
I would want to go confirm. I would confirm.
But I feel like that's a laziness that's connected to like larger parenting topics, right? Because nobody goes to confirm anymore. They'll just ask AI.
Oh gosh. I do think, and you know what? This is a good transition to the next, our number 3 episode 18. No kids allowed. Our problem is bigger than homework and penmanship. So this was November 17th, 2022. And our kids in our schools are in trouble. Like, can I just
Kids can't read good.
Not only can kids, I'm going to share what I got from my kids over this break and what I learned about what's going on in their schools. And nah, son. Yeah. Hold on.
Hold on, no, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh.
So the first thing is, so everybody gets an iPad because technology is going to be our saving grace, and somehow it's going to help all of our kids, I don't know, do something better and help all of our teachers do something better. It hasn't quite panned out that way. In fact, it's done the opposite. But all that aside, all of these kids have iPads. In the high school, they all get laptops, like the little Chromebooks. And the first thing I learned was, oh yeah, they locked down the iPad, but we just, like, everybody just gets around that. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And I learned about croxyproxy.com, which is a website that just lets you, and not only does it let you get around any firewalls, it has direct links to YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Reddit, all on the homepage.
Pornhub?
It's not there, but they use it to watch Pornhub, at least in the high school. In the high school, they're watching Pornhub just like in the cafeteria during study hall.
I mean, the most visited websites are going to remain the most visited websites. I mean, it is what it is.
At least have the decency to watch that at home.
Are you surprised?
What are you doing?
Well, I mean, this is a whole other aside, but I don't understand porn consumption in the contemporary milieu.
So, wait, what do you mean? Tell me more.
So, porn wasn't something that I discovered personally until I was basically in college.
Yeah.
I didn't have the like type of internet connection at the crib or like freedom to explore. I was like, oh, okay. Like,
oh yeah, no. This was
like, let me find out. Cats been beating their dicks for years. And like this is crazy.
I'm like, just using my imagination.
Yo, is that like, yo, this is just all available? Like, all you can literally type it in. It's like, yo, like big titty cow pigeon, right? Like what? This is crazy. And so I'm like, yo, there are people who are doing this in high school.
So
you just roughing up the suspect at such an early age.
It gets better. It gets better. So, thank you, Apple, for the iPads that my middle schoolers are now going to feetfinder.com to check out.
Is feetfinder.com what it sounds like?
So I was like, that's not real. And she was like, why would I make it up? And I was like, that's not real. And so I checked. And she's like, yes, check your phone and you'll see what they look at. And she's like, and the story gets better. So not only are these middle schoolers on feetfinder.com, sorry, they have put an entrepreneurial spin on it and had a whole a picture photo booth lab running in the bathroom where they're using Polaroids and having kids take pictures of the feet, and then they would sell them. They would sell the feet pictures of the middle schoolers to the middle schoolers, to the website itself. And I'm like,
wait. Hold on.
My Nick.
Is this an opportunity for an additional source of income? Because I have cute feet. I've been told on multiple trips I have cute feet. And
I'm not, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, because if this is about bread, hey,
and there's all kinds of categories.
This is a quick opportunity. If you're a sponsor and you want an intelligent podcast that you can get behind
after the Pornhub conversation,
this is the one. Right after Footfinder, Pornhub, whatever. That doesn't change the fact that we're complex professors who are ready to shill appropriately as long as your product is pro-black, pro-school,
yes,
pro-democracy. I'm with it.
That's fine.
Holla at us.
But yeah, I mean, I think the fact that this was something, we talked about, this was coming out of, COVID and what was it? Brain drain, not brain drain.
Oh, just the fact that every educational cohort that was exposed to COVID is going to be behind by multiple years.
Yes. Like the amount of time lost is not going to be made up in that time.
It's not just academic. It's also like social-emotional development.
All of it. And so I feel like when I think about our podcast and all of the parent kid specific topics, I think today we are seeing so many things that get called innovative or, oh, this innovation is going to do whatever, that at the end of the day is really just about profit. And I think we need to let go of this idea that just because somebody says something is innovative, that it's good. I think cell phones are an easy one. My cousins were like, yes, your kids don't have cell phones. I was like, we didn't have cell phones. What are you guys doing? Like,
What do you need a cell phone for?
for what?
You don't even have a job. And you can't drive.
Or social media. You don't need access to, and like the things that I hear people say, well, an 8-year-old has Snapchat. Oh, well, they just like the filters.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's a really important piece of it. And then I would connect it to this idea of like, how do we convince people to care about research and scientific evidence? Like, hey,
Where's
AI is making you dumber.
we will cite the studies.
The screens are making you dumber.
Cite the studies.
Your children need not be on social media before they are in their late teens at the absolute earliest, because it is compromising their self-esteem. It's compromising their sense of the world. We need to bring back physical books
And writing and reading.
Bring back writing notes by hand.
And it's, I was joking with the kids in the car about Whitney Houston's song, and I was singing, I believe the children are the future.
Oh, that's what you.
But now I'm like, oh,
that's what you call singing. That was tough.
Whatever. The point is,
I apologize, listeners.
If the kids are our future, we got to do a better job. Like, because this is not.
So, what does that mean to you in terms of immediate actionable things, right? So, like, I'm moved because I recognize that we accidentally bridged to number 2 in our list of 5.
Yes.
Because the number 2 episode
was
episode 8, which is COVID was made for co-parents. Platonic parenting and evolving after divorce.
I think that as parents, whether you're co-parenting or single parenting, again, aunties, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, tatis, titis, whatever, I think that it's really important. And we often say like, oh, we're putting our kids first and we care about our kids. And I believe that we believe that, but I think that we have lost sight of what's valuable in the name of convenience. So, walking through an airport, every single child has an iPad. And the kids are on the iPads, and I'm going to hold parents accountable too, and parents are on their phones. And we're doing this and the kids are doing this and no one like
I think you raised one of the things that is probably most difficult for me is the recognition that I really have to do a better job of modeling.
Yes.
Because even my transition, I read a lot on my iPad. I am going back to physical books. I have a stack. I went to Barnes and Noble for the first time in I don't even know how long.
Yeah.
Because part of the transition back to analog books is, hey, if I know that this is a better way to consume information, and I know that the tactile component and the retrieval component memory is enhanced by this, then I need to model that for my children, because they do what they see you do. They don't do what you say.
Yes.
Right. And I think that that's even my wife and I were having a conversation about texting and driving. I don't text and drive. If I'm touching my phone while I'm driving, it's because I'm putting in the map or I'm like looking up a location where we're going. But that doesn't change the appearance that I'm comfortable with my phone in my hand while I'm driving my car.
Yes.
And the first person that's going to be able to drive among the children is our son, Maximilian. And I absolutely do not want to model.
No. And it's why he won't have a smartphone.
Yeah.
He will have a talk and text.
But I feel like he needs to have a car that requires you to deposit whatever phone you have in there, like almost like the key. Like, we can't start this if you have your phone in your
hand. Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's the things that we have learned really since COVID. And I feel like, COVID did a lot to put us in really close proximity, but I think also helped to advance our relationship in ways that allowed us to be not just co-parents, but I think really truly friends again. Like, in a way that we, I think, had been working towards and would have gotten to eventually.
But the small circle and the like Oh,
I can't run away to yeah.
I'm not even allowed to talk to other people.
Like you're it.
Like I'm gonna hang out with my wife and my baby moms and like this small group of families that we have a learning pod with.
Yeah, and I remember this idea of platonic parenting, or in our case, platonic co-parenting came up, and I really appreciate that idea because I think it helped to focus on the fact that even if you are divorced, ideally you still have a relationship with the person that you made kids with. And if you can make it work, it's just so much better for everyone involved. Like that this isn't have to be
It doesn't have to be adversarial, but I think
yeah.
it's also directly connected to that idea about role modeling.
Mhm.
And so role modeling that, hey, you can have a disagreement, you can change the nature of a relationship, but you can still be thoughtful, civil, have shared values, and be focused on something that's collectively important to you. And so showing your kids like, hey, we might not be together anymore, but like we love you and we're always going to be dedicated to taking care of you. And what that means for them in terms of being able to think about their future relationships. I think that's valuable.
I mean, yeah, and we did talk a lot, and I still say they're so loved, right? Like our kids know, and I feel comfortable saying that. Like they know they are loved. Like they hear it. I think they when they're paying attention, they can see it, and going into this co-parenting journey, and I think some of the things that we figured out along the way is again positioning them first, right, with that like love and care, and like doing what's in their best interest, not just what feels good to us in the short term. Um, and that, making sure that whatever, even if you have disagreements, because Mike and I don't always, we don't
Oh
always agree on
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but that doesn't get in the way of, okay, but what's actually, again, in their best interest.
I
And I
mean,
think cell phones or and technology more broadly easily falls into that category.
yeah. And I think it does come back to this idea of shared values and being willing to negotiate your values, even if you do have disagreements. Like,
Hmm.
hey, I don't care about that. And you're like, well, I do care about that. And I'm like, all right. Well. Sometimes it's like, all right, well, let's just go with you because you care about it more. Other times it's like, all right, well, explain your position to me because
True.
like if we're gonna care about this collectively, then I want to be able to stand on my own tee if they come to question me, like, well, Dad, why can't we blah blah blah? I'm
Mm.
like, I don't want the answer, even if the answer comfortably is because your mama said so. Like, I want to have my own,
Answer.
yeah, my own reasons response.
And I think that one of the other things that we talk about in that episode, and I think is still important and really relevant, is that when your partner has a new partner, whether it's marriage or just dating or whatever, not just dating, but
Oh yeah, yeah, because you had some people around my kids.
okay, I just minor sidebar because looking for a partner post divorce when you are parenting kids, there's a lot of things involved depending on where you are in this journey.
Well, I think too, I think there's a great deal of advantage to having been married and being divorced and really reconsidering what's important to you.
Yes.
And I think that you have to have space to evolve in that as well.
Yeah, because when we first got divorced, I was like, "Oh, I need to find a stepdad." Like that that was my
That was a frame. That was
active
like the
like
frame
when I
that
was
you're
like
working with.
back in the okay, like I think I might want something and I'm not just dating to, you know, have fun.
Kick it. Yeah. I mean, I it's interesting because I can know that I've always been like, single parenting is for the birds,
It's
nigga.
terrible. Yo.
It's like, I don't
And I also say all the time, I'm very happy to be a part-time single mom,
Yeah.
50% single mom. Or what is it? I'm 100% parent 50% of the time.
Yeah. I don't know what slogans you've come up with, my nigga, but like I do know that there are times where the appearance and disappearance of like, oh, kids are just at my house for a month straight, huh? Like,
Does not happen. Does not happen. I want to set the record straight. Get this fake news.
oh, DT.
Fake news. The lie that is. But yeah, I think that as I date and learn more about myself, think about and also like where my life has gone, I'm in a very bit different place. Shoot, now 5 years ago than I was when we started the pod, and the things that I thought about dating then are very different than what very different, not very different. Have evolved, have grown.
Yeah, we gotta. That's a whole other episode. I don't want to dig into that because if we go down the path of real questioning, it's that no, you have a different sense of what is reasonable to accept based on whether or not you have your needs met, and if you feel like your
Yeah.
needs are being met, then. But that doesn't account for how expansive you actually would be willing to be.
No, I think now, and this has been consistent. I have always been. I care about how you treat me and how you make me feel. Like that is the most important thing. What was that?
Oh, you got to step your Michael Jackson up. I can't even believe you. As old as you are, you should have known.
No, I wasn't sure what was happening.
You knocked me off of my feet now, baby. Ooh. Sorry.
No, don't let me stop you.
It's better than your Whitney, nigga. But we can continue. I believe the children.
No, you're being a hater. I don't want to hear it now. I don't want to hear it. But no, so really quickly though, I think that even when you and I met,
You and I. Sorry, Jodeci.
I know I was, we were young, but it was very much like, oh, like this is fun and cool. And like, I like you, you like me, we hang out when we hang out and it's a good time.
Yeah, see you when you see you.
Yeah. And then, things went from there. But even then I was like, yo, I like that we have good conversation and it's fun when we hang out and we like the same things and like, it's just chill. And so I think
you're going to chill your way into whatever next.
No, but I think the things that have been consistent are still that, right?
Mhm.
And so now it's, well, yes, I'm divorced and I have kids and like a career and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, I still care about, how do you treat me? How do you make me feel? And in dating, I've come to recognize that people come to it all kinds of expectations. And I think what has been helped me to be successful is to not have any.
Yeah.
And then as things evolve, you can, assess and adjust and opt in or opt out.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. This is on the heels of a conversation having with a very close friend of ours.
Yes.
And so I'm not gonna
No.
So I would do like a shout, but I'm not gonna name
No,
this person.
we're
But
not
they
gonna
may or
name.
may not have been an engineer in a former life.
Yo.
They have something to do with the music industry now. And
That's a terribly blinded.
yeah, so in a, I mean, it's like, if you have to take a survey, like if I have to take a survey, like
A university in the Midwest.
to click black and I have to click my age as a professor at my institution,
Oh, yeah,
they know who it is.
It's like, oh, that guy.
Yeah, like this is very easy. But anyway, this person shared that they aspire to marriage and children. And my reaction was like, what? Since when? Wait.
Why did you respond that way?
Because I was like, wait, based on the way you've been moving, my nigga, like that's not.
That didn't come across.
Yeah, like where's I would be the first. Like this is a person that I love.
Do other people feel similarly?
So I offered the same framework to, and the same framing of his statement to myself, to my wife, who was like, what? She definitely gave him like the minion, like, and then to my baby moms, who also was like,
really?
Yeah. So incredulous was probably the core shared reaction consistently. And so like related to the kind of general conversation about the evolution of what you want from a relationship.
Yes.
Part of what I feel like I learned from our divorce that I try to be careful and thoughtful about applying to my new marriage is you're going to have to say the same thing over and over and over again for much longer than you think.
When you're in terms of dating and relationships?
In terms of dating and relationships. Yeah. And so like you can't, at first frustration, you can't write somebody off. You can't be like, oh, this person, like, yeah, I'm not going to, that'll never work. You'll never partner. Like at a certain point, and if it's too easy, you're also setting yourself up.
Yes.
because
because
yeah, if it's too easy, then and you don't know how to resolve conflict, and
you
you don't know
build
how
no
to,
muscles.
yeah, you don't know how to work your way back to each other. All it takes is one bang out, and like your relationship's over.
Yeah.
Um, and so like with this person in mind, I'm like, yo, like I've seen you cut chicks because you don't like the way that they chew. For all intents and
I
purposes,
hate the ways you choose, Jesus.
and like, like that does not long term partnership make.
No. And it's interesting because I think we were having this conversation recently. Similarly, I have friends who are like, "Oh, I want a, relationship and I want a partner and I want marriage and I want all these things." And then they get it and it's like, "Oh, but this is like hard and it's not the fantasy and like I don't want this." And I'm like, "No, that's pretty much what that is." Like when
That's what it is.
you sign, but I think people don't realize it, right? Like when you sign up for partnership, whatever version of it might be, marriage or you know long-term dating, marriage, cohabitation, whatever your thing is, it's work. Like,
But that's why it's so important to do it with somebody that you like to begin with too.
I mean, yes, if
Like
it's
that's
easier if you like the
yeah, like
person,
that's why the start
'cause
is like,
it's like work.
this person, because if I don't, like, this is gonna be a bad look.
It's like we're not gonna do the
This
thing.
is a long deployment for people who don't care for each other in a meaningful way.
But yeah, so I really feel like, I think about us as co-parents, I think about who I am as a parent, and I feel like my dating in our relationship and all of it is really intertwined because I don't think you can ever fully separate these things, right? You
Oh, I
can
see that little smooth transition you did to the number one episode as we go to bring this to a close. All right, so the number one episode from review is episode 25. And the title of that episode is Who Am I as a Parent? Understanding Parental Transparency and Identity.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's from June 16th, 2023. And so do you still feel like you're figuring out who you are as a parent slash co-parent?
I think I have it's hard because parenting changes as your kids change. But yes, I do think like there are things that I might have felt guilty about, again thinking about the I'm going to pause for a second.
Again, thinking about the what?
Oh, I just want to make sure that
Doesn't matter.
okay.
Just go on.
I figured they could just edit it out. But thinking about, what does it mean to be a parent and like what are my values and what are my priorities? And that you're on the same page as the person that you're parenting with. And so, I think ideally you have these conversations before you have children, but we know that that's not always how we all come to
Because
the
some people
world of
be out here
parenting.
just slinging kids wherever be. That's the it's the like Stefan Diggs. Yeah, he's in trouble again. Oh, so
Wait, is that the
he's a Patriots receiver. He's also the cat that's dealing with Cardi B. He just got in trouble for choking out his chef, who is I mean,
wait, what? Go back.
the way that the story sounds, and again,
Is the
this
chef
let
a
me
man or
look
a
directly
woman?
a woman. Let me look directly into the camera. Do not sue us. This is just based on secondhand. I haven't really dug into
Allegedly.
like I haven't dug. But what I understand is that this cat hired a chef that was basically his type, and it seems like he popped, and something went awry, and
Is she suing him?
now he's getting potentially locked up for choking this chick. Now, there are a whole bunch of conversational upshoots of this. Like, one is, can you hire domestic help who fits your attraction profile? And
Did she know that she fit his attraction profile or did she think she was just going to be a chef?
he knew that she fit his attraction profile. Yeah, like, okay.
Sorry, I didn't ask that clearly enough.
Yeah, let's do this side, right? So, like, if I say that I get to the point where my means are so long that like I could hire a nanny or like live in help, you think for a second that if the person that I hired looked like you, that my wife would go for that? Or that if the person I hired looked a lot like my wife, that she would go for that?
So, okay, yes, it sounds like
Like, and can you be professional? And so, like, I don't want to impugn
yeah.
professionalness. So, like, as a
Like
broad-shouldered black man, like, like, oh, like Donna brings to me like, oh, he's about 5'10", about 240. You know, seems nice, tells jokes.
bald headed,
Yeah,
got a
like
beard.
he might yeah, he can watch Maya, right? Like that's the one you want?
That's cool.
Like, yo,
This one.
like
No.
why is there a nigga in my house? Like,
Why does this nigga look like me?
it's like, I'm gonna need you to skate, Playboy.
No, but so okay. So I, I'll clarify my question.
Mhm.
So some people have, like hustles or things that they're doing, but there's like other stuff on the side. And like if the other stuff on the side works out, then I don't have to, be a clothing boutique store owner or sell tummy tea or whatever the thing is. Is she a chef, or is this like,
Oh no, it seemed like she's actually a chef.
or like a for real, like
Yeah,
this is my career?
well, but again, this would be me not having enough information.
Okay.
But from what I could gather, she's actually supposedly a professional chef,
Oh,
not like
okay.
a stripper playing a chef.
Okay,
Like,
I couldn't. I
yeah.
was trying to not.
Even
I
though
wasn't saying she was a stripper. That's not what I was saying.
Well, listen, that is a whole different conversation because I
Yes.
think sex work should be legal.
Absolutely, it's silly that it's not. We're also wasting mad money in this economy.
Yeah, but like that said, it seems to me that the primary credential was
Is chef. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just happens to be.
And then it happened to pop off.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
But I need to do much more research because I feel like this actually would be an interesting topic to dive into.
How did we
a little
get
bit more depth? We're talking about identity as a parent.
Oh,
and,
right.
like how you
Show up.
find yourself, how you show up, like how you like envision, re-envision, and like how those ideas have evolved for you.
Yes. So, I think that as we've, spent the last 5 years doing this podcast, the more that I think about these things, the more that I think I recognize and want to prioritize is like how much my parenting is informed by my identity. So as a Black woman with immigrant parents from Haiti, who has a background in education, who parents and co-parents with someone who also has a PhD and a background in education, like all of these things inform my parenting. And I think before I used to feel like, oh well, I don't want to say anything, or I don't want people to like feel like I'm like judging or like looking down on. And I
Like, I am definitely judging.
no, it's not judgment, but that like
I've changed my mind. In fact, I am judging you, and I need you to know.
it's not judgment. This is like when
I'm utilizing my professional expertise
Yes.
to allow you window into the fact that your perspectives are not well researched,
Okay.
founded, or fact informed.
Okay. I like that framing much better. But I mean, I really do. Like, what's the point? So, in fact, I use this example with my cousins when we were talking. I was like, listen, if I had some kind of medical situation, I would hit you up and I would trust your
medical
opinion because you're a doctor and I'm not. I'm a doctor of education. So like,
yeah,
I'm giving you information and I'm trying to help you help your kids.
Yeah, this is based on my expertise.
Because this is based on my expertise. And I think that people are much more willing to dismiss that. And I've recognized that might be the case. It doesn't mean I'm not going to say it anyway. And I feel like the podcast has helped contribute to that messaging and that like, yo, nobody is born knowing how to do anything. And parenting is no different. Like you don't go to school to learn how to be a parent. Like we're all figuring this out and like trying to do the best that we can with what we have.
There are so many classes that should be in school that aren't.
Son.
Financial literacy, investing, parenting,
relationships,
auto repair.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Like I should know how to change my oil. Like that should have been something that just is in
the curriculum. And these are like, oh well, your parents and your whatever will do all that. And like, yeah, in fact, I think I did show the boy how to change the oil the other day. But still, like it takes a village. And so I think part of our contribution to this village is, yo, like we did the work so you don't have to. Right? Yeah, I mean, we read the article. We hope you read the article too.
I will supply you with the original source material in case you don't make the same meaning of it that I did. However, yes. I would like this to inform the way that you're approaching things.
Yes. So yeah, I think that just it goes a long way. It really makes a big difference.
So I think we can close on this. So especially we reviewed these episodes. We've thought about like the top ideas. We've connected them to things that are going on now. What do you want your children to know about who you are?
Ooh.
And like think about that as like a frame as we're about to approach 2026. We have many more episodes coming. The goal is to get an episode a week out on average for the entire year. So we should be over episode 100 by the time 2026 is over.
Look at you committing to stuff.
I'm committed. I'm ready. I want to keep pushing.
No, for sure. That's a really good question. What do I want them to know?
And I base that both on like some of our show formatting and like where we were, but also I realized in my Barnes and Noble trip that I was talking about earlier, there was a book, and it's basically a book that's an interview for your parent.
Oh.
And it's like, who are you? What are the questions? What are the stories? What are the things that I don't know about you? And I was like, man, as a researcher, this is just a fascinating idea. And like, what I really want to do is like sit down in front of a camera, kind of similar to this with my mother, and
Mhm.
like ask those questions so that
Yep.
that artifact is available for our kids. And I was also thinking, oh, some of these questions, like, how would I answer them for myself? And so I'm thinking about that in terms of like not only our relationship, because I think one of the powerful things about the podcast is it's an artifact of our thinking that our children will be able to come back to,
True.
assuming we don't get ourselves scrubbed because of Donald Trump.
We mention him a lot.
Yeah. But like that they'll be able to come back to and they'll be like, oh, this is my parents' dynamic. This is how they interact with each other. These are
Yeah.
the things that they thought about. These are the things that they thought were important for us. So like I'm thinking a lot about like that question for myself. Like, who do I want my children to think I am? Like, what do I want them to know about who I am and how that influences how I show up for them, how I show up for their mother, how I show up for their
Mm,
like the other people in my community.
I think that I would want them, or how would I want to be remembered by my kids? And I want them to know or understand that yes, I'm passionate about things. Um, and obviously education is the thing and how that ties to everything else, but that I'm also somebody who shows up for those causes or those people. Like I'm not just gonna talk about it. I'm somebody who is gonna be about it, right? And that it's not just about being a hard worker, because that's I think something different, but that I'm somebody who, when I say something is important to me or when I commit to doing something, that I mean that. And like that's a part of being a person of integrity to me. And I think that's a lesson that I want them to learn and to take away, that, yeah, my mom was someone of integrity. Like she showed up for people and she's someone who um, acted on her beliefs.
Mm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll share with you guys. I had a family member pass away recently, and coming from her funeral, it's always just interesting to hear people memorialized and remembered. Um, and I think when you're someone who does show up for people in consistent ways, it's really clear. And so it was really
Yeah.
nice to hear. For me, I'm like, oh, like she's someone who's like really funny and like witty, but not the center of attention. Like on the surface, if you didn't know her, it'd be like, oh, that's not the life of the party. But like actually, she's the funniest person in here, right? She's the most thoughtful person in here. Um, she's a calm in the storm. She's somebody who is a rock, and it was really awesome to hear that from so many different people in different ways. And from people who I was surprised that there were, even those types of interactions with her. So like my brother um offered some words of remembrance, and it was really well done. And so, I've been thinking a lot about, who do I want to be remembered as, right? What is my legacy? What am I leaving for my kids? And I want them to know their mom. I want them to know who I am as a person, not just um the image that I think we all kind of project when it comes to the outside world.
Yeah. I think that's powerful and pretty deep. Mine's way shorter. Um, I think my kids already know who I am.
I mean, but we're okay.
Yeah, and so I don't. I think you're and we can talk about the influence of like racism, sexism, like all the different kind of isms and how that creates different type of veneers. And then you also have to think about like what feels appropriate to share with your kids versus what
I
doesn't.
mean, right. Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like my children understand what I think about friendship. They understand what I think about family. They understand what I think about accountability. They understand what I think about conflict resolution because they see me live it every day.
Okay.
They know that I show up for my friends. They know that I show up for my family. They know that I take care of my people.
I'd be interested to see their answers to this question.
Yeah.
We should ask them after this.
Yeah, it would be good. And I think we need to interview them. Just saying, I think there's an intergenerational thing that needs to take place because even as I was thinking about the framing, so you're talking about Shasha, like I'm thinking about my mom.
Mm.
There are so many things that the kids need to know that they got it from my mom through me, right? Like if somebody's gonna be excited about a sale, for example, like ask me how much this was. Like, um,
You know what is funny? So, while we were traveling, Makari asked my mom something like absurd and ridiculous, and she made a face. And Makari goes, "Oh, that's where you get it from." And I
yeah,
was like,
yeah, but I mean, those are real things because there's multi generational. Even the way that so my wife thinks that me and my mom laugh the same way,
"Yes, you do."
like and so yeah, like a hearty laugh and
Very already
like jokes or like messing with people feeling like you can tell people the truth about themselves because you've earned that because you show up for them and you take care of them and
Yeah.
they know that you love them.
Yeah.
I think the love ethic is probably the thing. If I were like, hey, I want to be remembered for something, it's because like I would say that it's because I love people and that my actions are a demonstration of that love. Even if that love is tough love, like even if that love is a little bit more abrasive because that's what's needed, or if it's like extra soft in places where people are like, "Oh, like why are you being so nice to this person?" I was like, "Yo, nobody else is." Right? I
Mm.
think that the ability to adapt to the situation and to have a sincere dedication to giving people what you feel like they need to be the best version of themselves, like that's something I'm dedicated to and I try to live out on a daily basis and I think my kids can see that. Um at least I know my daughter can because we have our own little notebook that we already do,
Hmm.
and we've kind of talked about some of that stuff. But man, we've been
5 years.
5 years, so many things, but so many more things to do. So we really appreciate you guys rocking with us.
Yes.
This is a little bit longer episode than we expected, but
I
I think
mean,
it's a good setup.
it's a 5-year anniversary
Yeah,
episode.
anniversary. It's a good setup for where we're going, and the what we are dedicated to is continuing to have these tough conversations, continuing to comment on things that are important as it relates to our life, to pop culture, to being parents, to being people who are committed in the struggle to make the world a better place, not just for our kids, but for everybody's kids.
Yeah.
And so we appreciate you guys rocking with us.
And we definitely want to hear from you all. So we shared our top 5, but I'm just curious because I know everybody doesn't necessarily
Oh, I would
have
be
their say. So
yeah, if
like,
I have a favorite episode.
give us your favorite episode, like in the comment. Leave a
Yeah, or give
hit
us
us on Instagram,
yeah, I'm also we're gonna put you guys to work. But
TikTok.
what else do you want to hear us comment on? Because that is valuable and important. We try to work it in. Whenever people give us show ideas, they're like,
Yes,
"Oh, you
we
guys
do
should
use
talk about
them.
this," or like, "This should have been a little bit longer." That is valuable to us as well. And I'm actually going to be assigning a podcasting episode
Oh,
assignment
that's
next
really
semester.
fun.
Yeah, because I want to see how
They do it.
yeah how the students work through. Like, hey, here's an idea. Make
Cool.
this accessible. Make this something that people can learn, but also that they want to listen to through to the end. That's valuable. I think it's important, especially because we recognize the direction that social media
I mean,
and
yes.
like short form media is going. If it's going to be influential, we got to make sure that people who really care about advancing, loving, supporting, and otherwise uplifting people are represented in those spaces.
Yeah, and doing the work.
And
So
with that, thank you for rocking with us on another episode of the Parents and Professors podcast. Peace. Or a little I sit back and relax, discussing all the theories and the social impacts. From belonging to assessment, we break it all down in the classroom, and at home we wear the crown. Raise the little warriors with wisdom and might. In this chaotic world, we shine so bright. Teaching them question to challenge the north. Together in this storm, we stay warm.